Hello guys, welcome back to another online training session. Today we're going to have a look at the centre defensive midfielder. Rodri is the perfect example of this, the number 6, and hopefully in this video I'm going to show you what it takes to win a Ballon d'Or. So the first thing I want to do is look at some of his statistics from this Ballon d'Or winning season. So this is his heat map, his average heat map from the entire season. And the first thing we can clearly see is that Rodri almost plays within his own mini pitch, right in the centre. He doesn't tend to leave it. There's nothing out wide really. There's very little in both boxes, as you can clearly see. But predominantly all of his work is done very much in the centre of the pitch. And hopefully this is also shown by his passes by zone, because what we can see here is 255 and 317 in the two very central areas of the pitch. This is the direction of attack, so maybe slightly more in this attacking centre zone. But we have a look at the other numbers around it, and we can clearly see that these two zones are where he operates most from and where he plays most of his passes. I'm going to have come back to the thing on the right in a second. Hopefully we can see it also here, that point that I'm trying to make, that yes, we've got a couple passes down here, there's one over there, there's one here, but almost all of his passes originate from the centre of the pitch. This again, look, this is all his Champions League passes in that Ballon d'Or winning season. Centre of the pitch, they're all coming from roughly the same areas. And they're all, a lot of them, going out wide, as we can see now. So these arrows dictate, the size of the arrow dictates sort of how much he passes to that player. And what we can see very clearly is right wing, right back, left wing and left back tend to be his most common passes. Of course he plays with his centre-backs a fair bit, as you would to have to recycle that ball. But most of his progressive passes, at least, are done into the wide areas. Also take note of his average position from that season. You could not be more central. And if we just jump back, so look, these are all passes out wide that you can see from a central area, maybe into a left back, into a right back, into a right winger, into a left winger. But all of these passes, well, majority of these passes are played out wide from a central position. And this shows it as well. So this is the passing direction sonar, basically showing you that forward passes are a bit limited, backward passes are limited, but most of his passes that he plays, his successful passes, if you look down here, are played out to the left winger, right back and left back. Okay, so I've moved on to this mini pitch now to try and talk through some of those principles I've already mentioned, with the first one being the one that we saw in that heat map. So Rodri plays very much in his own mini pitch that you can see that I've marked out in red here. And that's because he always wants to be available for the person on the ball. So if the right back's got it, he'll happily drop into this area over here. But if the left winger's got it, he'll happily drop in over here. And the reason he can do that is because he's never too far away from the ball. Because even if the ball is played over to this left winger and he's, let's say, in this midfield zone, he doesn't have to run too far to be an option for the guy on the ball. And that is only done because he maintains this central position at all times, ready to receive the pass or ready to move over with the ball quite quickly. Whereas if we think about it, if he dropped into this left back position, for example, and played a big switch, which he is very capable of, but you will never see him do, because if he switches this over to this right wing side, he is now not in a position where he can get over and support before he's closed down and pressured and probably loses that ball. So he makes sure to maintain this central area of the pitch so that he can be an option at all times for everyone on the ball. Now I want to have a look at that second idea about where Rodri plays his passes. So we saw from those statistics earlier that a lot of the passes that he plays are out wide from a central position. And actually it's very similar, the job that he does, to the goalkeeper. If you've watched the goalkeeper video, what we see a lot of the time is receive from the left, pass to the right. Because if the balls come from the left-hand side, that means all the defenders have pushed across. Meaning that most likely the space is on the right-hand side. And this is exactly what Rodri does, but a lot higher up the pitch. So if he receives the ball from his inverted right back, let's say, over here, most likely that ball will then be dished out over towards the left. And it's exactly for the same reason, right? So if the inverted right back's got the ball, most likely the opposition will have dragged all their players over to try and condense the space on the right hand side of the pitch over here, leaving who free? The guy on the left hand side in all that space. So the reason why Rodri plays a lot of side to side passes is recognising that very simple principle. If the ball is on one side of the pitch and we've played a few short passes, all the opposition players will be dragged over, and so the space is on the other side of the pitch. Okay, now the final thing I just want to talk about on this mini pitch quickly is this idea of when off the ball. So let's say we've just had an attack, as you can clearly see, and we attacked down this left hand side and we lost the ball and they played it out really nicely. A lot of our players they've committed themselves forward and they've been taken out of the game. But Rodri is ready because he's occupied this central area and he's maintained his position really nicely. He is ready to go and affect the person on the ball as soon as he gets it. So he can go and close them down, he can hold up the attack, he can break up the play. Basically, he is the ultimate counter-attacking weapon, because he makes sure that as soon as this ball comes back out from our attack, he is ready in this midfield zone to not let anything past him. And at very worst, he is available to then make a tactical foul. So there's 3 reasons that we just outlined for why he occupies this central area. So he can receive the ball at all times, so he can be played through to go from side to side, and so he can counter that counter-attack by making sure that he's always there to break up the opposition attack. Okay, now let's have a look at some gameplay. So for consistency, I've chosen exactly the same game as the number 8 video, so Man City versus Liverpool. I've broken down Rodri's gameplay into 3 very broad categories here: long passing, short passing, and defensive actions. So let's firstly start with long passing. This is his heat map from the game and his average position. I mean, you could not be more central, and I keep saying this, but look at the mini pitch that he's playing in. He's got a couple actions down here and a couple actions in there in both penalty boxes, probably for corners or set pieces, but almost all of his touches are played in his own little mini pitch. So long balls from that game we're looking at here, he attempted 10 and he made 9. And I'm going to show you every single one of them. So receiving from the right this time, head up, and plays out to the left. This is a really nice next clip here. Receiving again from the left hand side, so we know he's going to play out to the right. This is actually an assist. Look, when he's on the ball, head up, spots this out to in run. You've got a really nice look at our 2 wingers. All these videos linked together, guys, so we need to be watching all of them. Nice wide winger, making the run into the space behind the fullback. Really nice pass over the top, and a great finish by Mahrez. And there it is in the back of the net. This is really nice again. You see, occupying that midfield zone, making sure he's always an option. So just, there he is. It doesn't require much movement to make sure that he's available to receive the pass. The ball's coming to him. Whilst the ball's coming to him, head is up. Looking where can be an option. Again, takes another touch, head up, and then finds that pass nicely out wide. Every pass from here on out is exactly the same thing, and I want you to take note of this, and I hope by the end you're bored of watching Rodri make long passes, because he makes them so easy. I've talked about this already on that mini pitch. So the left winger's got the ball, and he's in a position where he's available to receive that pass. Before he receives the pass, his head's up, he's scanned, he knows exactly where everyone is. And look where he's looking as well. That principle of he's receiving from the left, he knows the space is probably going to be over here somewhere on the right hand side. So head up once. Now he receives the ball, he takes 1 touch and his head's up again. And now he dishes that pass. Of course his passing is pretty much perfect, and that's a skill that requires a lot of time. But there's loads of things we can learn. Exactly the same idea. Look, before he receives the pass, his head's up, looking in the direction that he wants to pass. So pass is coming in from the left. Where's the space going to be? It's going to be on the right. Heads up once, run it on, and then heads up again. There he is. There's our pass, and then he finds that space that we've talked about on the other side of the pitch. Exactly the same idea. Hasn't received the ball yet, but his head's up because he wants to know where the other players are before he receives that ball, so he can transition quickly. Again, receive from the right, head up once he's taken that touch, played out to the left. I hope we're getting the idea now, because this is it should be boring because he makes the game look so simple with how efficient he is. Before he's received the ball, his head's up, one touch, head up again, and plays that pass. Receive from the left, pass to the right. Exactly the same idea, head up before he's received it, head up when he's on the ball, receive from the right, pass out to the left. And then I think this might be a really nice final example here. This is a first time pass. This is unbelievable. So his head's up before he's received the ball. This is standard. We've seen that in every clip so far. And look where he's looking. He's seeing Mahrez in space. And so when the ball is passed to him, his head's up again as he's running towards the ball here. And this is a first time pass. This is outrageous. First time, and look at that. Delivers Mahrez nice in behind the opposition. Moving on to principle number 2, short passing. Let's have another look at the stats. Touches 119. He attempts 104 passes. This guy is a passing machine. His first thought whenever he receives that ball is where can I pass, who can I find, and can I do it as quickly as possible. He barely takes any touches for his passes. You saw in those long ball examples, it is a 2-touch maximum with Rodri. And to emphasise that even more, I want to have a look at this. The thing I've circled in red here. Dribble attempts 0. This guy didn't attempt a single dribble in 90 minutes, but he made 101 passes. Okay, let's have a look at some examples here. So these are just 3 clips that I've taken because, of course, it does get a bit monotonous looking at short passes. But I hope we can see similar ideas in terms of always making sure that he's an option, always getting his head up, and trying to move that ball quickly, 1-2 touch maximum. So this is our nice first example here. Again, pre-scans. When he's receiving that ball, pre-scans again. Pre-scans again. His head's up. He knows exactly where his teammates are. Happy to play it short. And then when it comes back to him, there he is again. Happy to play it short. He already knows where his players are. Rodri acts as almost like a get-out-of-jail-free card at times because he's so good and so efficient with his passing. Man City know that if they pass Rodri the ball, he will not lose it. He will find a man. The start of our second example here, look, he's about to receive this pass. He's already got his head up, checking where everyone is, so he's got a picture of the game before it even comes to him. 1-touch passing, and now so the ball's on this right-hand side of the pitch, but we talked about this in that mini-map. He's maintained this central area, so it's not too far for him to move along. And even, look, as he's coming across this side of the pitch, he's got his head up. He's scanning. He wants to know where his teammates are at all time. And then again, more scanning. When he receives this pass again, he knows exactly what the pitch looks like, so he's happy to serve it forward into Rico Lewis. This is our third example. So he plays it back to Rico Lewis. And then again, look at this. Just short bits of movement, just to make sure that he's always an option for a pass. And then it's 1-touch passing. It's 2-touch passing very quickly. And again, denoted by the red arrow, look, he's caught himself on the right-hand side, but he knows he needs to be an option for this next pass. So he moves across really nicely and then receives it again. There he is coming onto the screen now. 1-touch pass. He already knows what the pitch looks like. So here, when Gundogan receives it, he's ready for an option. And then again, he's ready for that option if needed. And then he's found himself available for another pass. He's just always where the ball is to help out his teammates. Again, more nice bits of movement here. And just to finish here on short passing, it's hard to show this in screenshots, but I want to think about the tempo of the game. So when should we go long and accelerate the play, speed up the pace of the game, versus when should we play short and try and control the game? And maybe this is something to think about when we go ahead versus when we're behind. In terms of the 6 is the one who dictates the speed of the game. Pep said they're like the driver of the car. They determine how fast it goes. And so being able to understand tempo and when we need to accelerate and when we need to slow the game back down is really important for a number 6. And they can use their short passing and their long passing to always try and manipulate that speed. But the key thing with Rodri is there's never more than 2 touches. Okay, well, thirdly, we've got defensive actions. And obviously, I've already touched on this a little bit in that mini-map, but I hope we can see it a bit more from these graphics now. Again, we're looking at Rodri's Ballon d'Or seasons here. And we're looking at the areas of the pitch that he covered. So we've clearly got a central area here and another central area here. You can have a look more closely at where his sort of touches happen. And obviously, they happen everywhere. But look how congested that middle area of the pitch is on both the examples for defensive actions. And I'm hoping that we can see that again in a few clips. Because what we've got here is a long booted goal kick from Liverpool, but look who's ready for it. He makes sure that he's always in the centre of the pitch so he can go and affect the game instantly. He doesn't have far to travel to go and win his duel. So even if the ball comes over here, he's still got time to go and get it. So he does really well here, makes sure that he closes down that space nicely and wins his header. Another similar idea, a long goal kick, and Rodri's in this central area. Again, ready for wherever that ball goes in here. He is ready to win the duel. Nice and aggressive again. And that is another thing about Rodri, a really nice clip to show it. He is very aggressive in his duels. So he makes sure he either wins them or he gives away a foul. There's no chance that a player is dribbling past him. And I wish I had a stat to show you that, but I couldn't find it. So a pass is played in here for Robertson. He's maintained this central area really nicely so he can go over, read the game. And as soon as he gets closer to Carvalho, the Liverpool attacker here, he sticks in a challenge, wins the ball back, and then Man City are on the attack again. Another similar idea here, look how aggressive he is. He's high pressing, he wants to get in the face of the opposition. But when the ball is played, if we run it on now, he's now ready in this central area of the pitch that we've already talked about to step out, to affect the game, to make sure that he can put pressure on the ball carrier, and again he wins the ball back for his team in this area. Another similar idea with this long ball, so Man City have pressed really nicely here and they're going to clear it. And we know exactly where Rodri's going to be already. There he is, central area, just patrolling, because that's the most likely place that the ball's going to drop. So he maintains that central position to make sure that he can then mop up any balls that come into that area. Same idea again. He's not found right back here defensively in the back line or out wide at any point. He makes sure that he always stands in front of these back two in this central position so he's ready to affect the game. Again, really aggressive in his duel, wins it back and keeps possession for his team. And another nice idea here. This is actually off kickoff. They go long. These are the two centre-backs that you can see, nice and central in between them. And again, ready to mop up in this central area. He wins his first header. And then if you run it on again, we'll see that again, look where he is. He hasn't moved out that central area in between his two centre-backs, holding the middle of the pitch for his team. And again, he wins the second duel. So the defensive contribution that he makes are vital because so many of them are made in that central area of the pitch, which is so dangerous. That is the area that we want to control, and the 6 defensively is a big part in that.